Oh, he's the shove it man. Oh, he's the shove it man. He's gonna shove it. Yeah, he's gonna shove it, man.
Brick to the head brigade, back to a bit of normality today as we catch episode 40 and 41 of NWA TNA. If I sound a bit different, it's because I'm in a different room. I finally moved into my new office, but there's nothing in it. It's as empty as your ass. Last time out, the TNA show was crazy. Well, you don't need me to tell you that, do you? A bunch of random wrestlers from the Attitude Era showed up, and D'Lo Brown lost a title match. Show starts out this week with an arena that's filled with trash around the ring, and also a bunch of weapons. It's a 3-teamed armed asylum match pitting the Sandman and a mystery partner versus the Disciples of the New Church. New Jack appears in the ring, and he's the Sandman's partner. Also in this match are the Nazi boys. They all smack each other with weapons like complete morons. New Jack has his favourite staple gun, so he's having a good time here. New Jack is on the outside of the ring now and he picks up a chair on the ring apron. He runs and dives, crashing through the barrier. Due to the bad camera angle, it looks like he's dived at an invisible wrestler, but I can assure you that Slash was just off camera. On top of the ramp, one of the Nazis throws Sandman at a table, but it doesn't break. Seconds later, Slash throws the other one at a table, but it doesn't break either. This match is completely crazy. Lots of fast camera cuts and everyone's busted open. Completely randomly, Slash hits a swanton bomb on Brian Lee for a table, but it doesn't end the match.
Dude, I was watching the NWA TNA show the other day, man. And this dude, the Slash Man, he stole my swanton bomb finishing maneuver, man. But he didn't finish. I've warned him before not to steal my flip dive. I'm going back to Carolina. And I'm gonna remind my stoner friend Shannon all about you, Slash Man.
New Jack and Brian Lee are fighting on another balcony and then they start to head up the steps. Lee suddenly charges at Jack, but he's sort of back body dropped off the steps. He doesn't go through the table properly. One of the Nazis is stabbing the Sandman with a fork. Both Nazis double team him now as he's shoved through a table at ringside. We cut back to the balcony now where New Jack is motioning that he might die from the following actions. He hits an elbow drop off the balcony through the table. Back at the ring, one Nazi big boots a trash can into the Sandman, and the Nazis also hit the H-bomb on Sandman for the free. The comrades team are blaming New Jack for leaving his partner alone to be double teamed. I mean, New Jack faced 2 men on his own and he took them out himself. Maybe the Sandman should have stayed nearer to New Jack. Great opener though, really something that makes you sit up and pay attention. By the way, 6 matches for the Sandman and 6 losses. It's not exactly going well for Hardcore Hack. Somebody give him a smack. Goldilocks meets with Bart Gunn in the back who debuted last week. She tells him that he's starting out on the biggest spot of the card tonight because he's facing Perry Saturn. Not sure how that's the top of the card. Nothing against Perry, but it's not, is it? D'Lo Brown bursts in looking terrified. He says he's looking for beyond boring Mike Sanders, but Disco Inferno says that he's also looking for him. Chris Harris is in the locker room chilling, so it looks like he might be joining Sports Entertainment Extreme. They send him to go and find Mike Sanders. Mike TNA is announcing some sort of tag team tournament. It sounds overly complicated. He brings out NASCAR's Hermie Sadler and Jeff Hammond. This guy is a charisma black hole. He announces that he's going to be driving a little TNA car in a little race. He speaks so quickly and quietly, someone needs to smack Hermie Sadler with a brick. Jeff Hammond screams boogity 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 and tries to get the crowd to join in, but they're too cringed out. Raisin is in the back now with Mickey James and Julio De Niro. They don't look very happy. The craziness continues now as we go into a ladder match. It's the insane Brian Lawler. He looks like he's on more and more drugs on a weekly basis. He takes on Dusty Rhodes in a ladder match. They're fighting over the belt that David Flair stole a few episodes ago. Lawler smashes him on the outside of a ladder and he screams at TNA. Lawler thinks he's got him weakened, so he puts the ladder in the ring and starts climbing. Lawler's struggling because it's TNA and the ladder is partially broken. Dusty arrives back in the ring and he heaves it over. Dusty Rhodes now hits the elbow. He goes to get a ladder, but it's about 2 foot tall. He beats Lawler with it. Dusty then climbs the little ladder and hits an elbow drop. That's like a Renault Megane falling on you. Dusty goes to climb the proper ladder now, but he's smacked in the slash zone. Lawler climbs up the ladder. He spits at the referee and tries to hit the leg drop, but the dream is too quick for him. Dusty starts climbing, but the crawler is in the ring, beating him down. He can't get the belt though because Nikita Koloff is here in a vile predator coat. He climbs the ladder and he can't unclip the belt. He decides to just rip it down and that seems to work for him. Koloff hands the belt over to Dusty whilst he has a look on his face that someone just shat on his face. They hug, they kiss, they slap asses and it's over. Wait, no, the fake main eventer Eric Watts is here and he steals the belt back for his team. Moldylocks is in the car park with Chris Harris when they run into James Storm, who's also here for some reason. Storm asks why he was in the SEX locker room. Harris defends the SEX guys and says they're actually okay. Storm says trust you my ass and leaves. What happens next is on the legendary scale of promo. Beyond Boring is here with hair dye for old men dripping down his face and about 6 hairs hanging off his forehead. Harris asks him what he's planning on doing now he's fallen out with everyone and nobody likes him in TNA. Harris says this with absolutely no emotion, it makes it sound even funnier. Sanders looks really upset. Beyond Boring wants to know how Harris views him. He says he's an asshole. They agree to talk to Disco Inferno. This is the most time Harris has had on the mic in the whole of TNA.
I don't know why he's so pissed off, and I don't know why everybody's pissed off. I don't know what the hell I'm doing so wrong. Sanders, I got a message for you. You know what, Sanders, it's none of my business, but what are your options right now? Do you have any idea how much heat you have over there? Nobody likes you over there.
Chris, do you really think I give a shit? Let me ask you, what do you think about Mike Sanders? What's your opinion of Mike Sanders?
Honest?
Honest, don't lie.
I think you're an asshole.
I know you like showing those arms off and everything, but man, it's like 30 degrees out here. Put a frickin' jacket on.
You wish you had arms like this.
That very man, gifted Glenn Gilberty, is here now. How is he gifted? He's facing AJ Styles, who recently tried to decapitate him with a chainsaw. This won't be an easy match for AJ, as this is a new Glenn Gilberty. He's developing a more serious character. AJ misses his spin kick, but he does hit a hurricanrana. Styles also gets a 2 off a German. It all goes wrong for Styles now as he tries a springboard, but Disco catches him with a drop kick. On the outside, Styles tries a charge, but he gets drop toe hold and slides into the steps. The serious Glenn Gilberty hits a rock bottom. He's all over Styles as he hits a low drop kick to the back. Styles starts getting embarrassed and he tries a comeback, but he's turned inside out by a clothesline. Disco goes back to dominating the match now. Styles can't even hit the inverted DDT as Disco does a good job of keeping him on the mat. We get a brand new AJ Styles move now. It's a pump handle into a gut buster. Really random. AJ's awake now and he manages to spring for the top rope and hit the inverted DDT. Barely, it wasn't fluid. Disco starts gritting his teeth with anger and he smashes Styles with DDT. I told you this wouldn't be easy for AJ. Styles tries to come back but he misses his springboard 450. Disco rolls him up with his feet on the ropes. Ref counts 3. He then notices that Disco's feet is on the ropes, so the match continues. Disco is distracted and AJ hits the Styles Clash for the 3. AJ put his feet on the ropes and the ref still counted it, because for some reason Disco Inferno must be protected. It's not like he would have kicked out the Styles Clash anyway. Disco is livid and he's crying at the referee, who pushes Disco and runs away. Disco looked very heavy in this match with Styles. The moves didn't flow nicely and Styles looked like he struggled with him. He attacks the referee and launches him into the steps. Then in the crowd he hits the ref with a chair. Gifted Glenn Gilberty, folks. Mike today continues his complaints from last week that TNA needs an authority figure. I thought it was Dusty. Somewhere in the Sports Entertainment Extreme locker room, Disco Inferno is flipping out at Beyond Boring. Disco then seems to change his mind and blames everything that's happened in the last couple of weeks on D'Lo Brown and says despite Sanders' screw-ups, he trusts him. Disco tells Boring to beat D'Lo in a match tonight and they will all have his back. Sanders, who seems to have Tourette's nowadays, says, let me get my shit on. Up next, it's a mixed tag match. Desire and it's Sonny, Don't Look at My Asiaki. He has a man called Ryan Sweeney with him who legitimately won a charity contest to be here, but he looks miserable. They face Athena and the king of the cab driver Slam David Young. Great to have them back on the show. Sonny has a mic and he tells David Young that they haven't been getting on lately because Sonny is attractive and David is fat and ugly. The point is that this feud is between Desire and Athena. She slaps Sonny. He calls her fat and suggests that him and David Young both leave it to the women to fight. This has potential to be real turd. Suddenly David Young is back in the ring and he hits Athena with the cab driver slam, David Young has sold his soul to the devil and joined Sports Entertainment Extreme. Oh, what a bunch of bullshit. Goldilocks in the back now with Perry Saturn. He shakes head sweat into her face. He says he's had 500 fights in his life and can consider himself a legit tough guy. This promo's weird. Suddenly a wild Slapnuts appears.
Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
He ruins the interview going on some crazy rant and he sends Saturn away. Bart Gunn then bursts into the interview punching Saturn. I guess this match is on now then. Bart has his Japanese attire on, which would be really appropriate as he wouldn't be sticking around in TNA long. In the ring, Bart Gunn hits a top rope shoulder block. Bart also wants a pump handle, but it's reversed by Saturn into a release German. Saturn hits him with another and another. Saturn's busted open already. Perry Saturn now hits a springboard dropkick. This match is breathless. Perry Saturn can't stay on top though because he's a bloody mess. He eventually dodges an attack and he's able to hit a T-bone, but Bart Gunn is straight back up hitting a left hook. The ref checks to see if Saturn is still conscious, so they're kind of turning the brawl for into part of his gimmick. Bart Gunn holds Saturn upside down for ages as you can see blood dripping to the floor, and then he drops him on his head. Saturn gets smashed all over the ring here. He then scores a fluky super kick for a 2 count. He follows that with a spinning powerbomb. Really nice match here. Saturn is able to pick him up and he hits the Death Valley driver. Surprisingly, Bart Gunn kicks out. Bart Gunn then suddenly starts selling his hand. I think they're saying that his punch broke his hand.
NWA Impact brings you the Smack of the Week, sponsored by all new Blonde for Men. If you're a brown-haired Potter, put some blonde in it. It makes you look hotter.
Man, what a match we're having. Perry Saturn stumbling back to his feet. Bart Gunn with a left hook. Wow, what a left hook from Bro for all. That one's got Dr. Death shaking in his boots. Saturn needs A&E, blood gushing down his forehead like a tampon.
That was the NWA TNA Smack of the Week, sponsored by Blonde Just for Men. Get it? Got it? Shove it.
Saturn immediately throws him and makes him tap out. Thanks for coming, Bart Gunn. He'll never be seen again in TNA. In the back, Goldilocks is with a miserable looking New Jack. He tells her to shut up. Sandman walks in and yells at him for apparently costing them the match. He says, I don't care if you jump off the Empire State Building. Then a fireball hits the Sandman in the face. Goldilocks screams, fire, fire. It's just the New Church getting some revenge on the ECW guys. You know, why aren't Slash and Brian Lee considered ECW guys? They had loads of ECW matches. Weird. Some people's legacy as ECW and others are just completely forgotten about. I guess they weren't really part of the big time reunion shows. Mike Sanders out now, he looks like he's going for opium withdrawal. He takes on Downtown D'Lo Brown. Sanders cost D'Lo his world title match last week, so that's why he doesn't like him. D'Lo was a heel last week, but now the fans seem to like him again. I guess because the only other option to cheer is beyond boring Mike Sanders. Just like last week, Sanders hangs in there with a vastly superior opponent. He hits a moonsault to the outside, but I'm pretty sure his head hits the metal. He launches D'Lo into the guardrail as about 6 fences almost come loose. Sanders hits a suplex on the outside. He has a distant look in his eyes. Back in the ring, Sanders hits a big pump handle suplex. Mike Sanders can actually wrestle. The last 2 weeks have proved that. Problem is, just look at him. He looks like a high school gym wrestler in his first year who's addicted to crack and who badly needs some blonde just for men. Sanders hits a shaky head knee drop whilst looking like he's having a stroke. D'Lo then almost passes out to Mike Sanders. The crowd are dead for this one. D'Lo hits a big time spine buster to zero reaction. Sanders isn't done yet though as he hits a knee to the face and a neck breaker. D'Lo scoop slams him and he motions he's going to the top. Sonny, don't look at my ass, Siaki appears and he makes him fall on his nutsack. Desire has the ref distracted and I'm not surprised. Sanders hits a superplex but it's just a 2. It ends seconds later as D'Lo reverses a net breaker into the sky high. Glenn Gilberty is back out now and they all beat up D'Lo Brown. Disco holds him and Sanders hits the super kick. I guess they're all friends again so that's nice for them. Time for your weekly cage dancer roundup. Lollipop's still here but there's another much nicer lady. Why couldn't she be here more regularly? Mike today interviews Trinity now who's dressed as a cowgirl. She says in her spare time she races jet skis amongst other extreme sports. She says she's only been wrestling for 1 year. She reveals that she was trained by Mikey Whiprap along with Amazing Red and his twins. She goes through all the major films that she's been a stunt actress in. Kid Kash then appears. Tanae says, Dave, can I help you? He's here to be a dick and be jealous of Trinity. Kash complains that he's been booked in a match with Raven tonight. He says that she must come to the ring with him and have his back. That match is now and Raven is out hugging a young goofy Mickey James but he doesn't hug poor Julio De Niro. She sits on Raven's lap. Here's Kid Kash and Trinity then. 10A informs us that this match will not be for the X Division title. Gee thanks Professor. Surprisingly, Kash overpowers Raven and throws him out of the ring. Kid Kash tries to dive but he screws it up. He pretty flawlessly switches into a different dive which he doesn't screw up. Inside the ring, Kash kicks Raven in the side of the head. Kash tries a springboard dive but Raven is saved by Julio. Raven's killing him now, he smashes him in the face with a knee. Mickey also gets involved on the outside. Trinity doesn't stop her as Kash told her not to move. Raven decides to cheat further with a chair drop toe hold which is reversed by Kash as Mickey distracts the ref. None of these matches are squash matches tonight. Kash gets a nice DDT in on Raven. He tries a rolling something but he's caught with a powerbomb. Kash isn't having his best night tonight as he slips on his springboard dive but he just does it again anyway and hits the crossbody. Kash wants to go high risk again but he's stopped by Raisin. Kash throws him off but he misses his crazy dive. You know what's mad? In all of Kid Kash's matches there are You know what's mad? In all of Kid Kash's TNA matches I've only really seen 2 botches and they've both been in this match. Trinity decides to hit Raven with a diving head scissors despite Kash not telling her to do anything. She also takes out Julio and Mickey and she super kicks Raven. She hits a big moonsault to the outside and then she leaves. Completely against the run of play, Raven gets up and hits the Raven effect for the free. An ending that made absolutely no sense. Raven was the one who was just hit with 2 moves before the finish of the match. Maybe because it was a girl who did them? Who knows, I'm just trying to get into the early 2000s mindset. If you love the X Division, stick around because the remainder of the show is going to be X Division stuff. The next one's a 4-way elimination tag match pitting Daniels and Skipper against Shark Boy and Jason Cross. Also in this match is Chris Sabin making his TNA debut as he teams up with Johnny Storm. And also in this match is Jerry Lynn and the Amazing Red. Damn, the talent in this ring right now. Storm and Lynn will start this one out. Lynn keeps knocking Storm down, but he keeps getting up. We get a really weird headstand slapping spot. Both guys tag out because they realise how stupid it was. Shark Boy and Red will fight now. They also keep reversing each other. Red ends up trying to hit a dive, but both men catch each other with a drop kick. Red hits a power slam, but I'm not sure how powerful that could be. Daniels forces his way into the match and immediately kicks the Shark down. Sharky bites him and brings Cross in. Cross is definitely looking good, but he tags Sabin in for his first action. He runs straight into a Skipper chop. He also runs into a Skipper diving clothesline. Sabin, who's described as the kid from the Midwest, manages to hit a head scissors. Then he hits an overhead belly to belly. Never seen that from Sabin before. The NASCAR guy is on commentary, but he's actually pretty good and knowledgeable about the product, so I have no problem with him being here. Sabin seems to be the king of the suplex in 2003. He then stops suplexing and he hits a big dive to the outside. Red also dives. Everybody dives. Johnny Storm almost kills himself. Damn, Cross hits a diving Unpredator on Daniels, but the ref is distracted. Cross tries to go crossfire, but he's pushed off the top by a luchador ninja from my last video. Daniels hits the crossroads to put Jason Cross away. Coolest move of the match is actually from Johnny Storm. He jumps from the top onto Daniels' shoulders and hits a Hurricanrana from there for a 2. Looked great. He tries it again on Lynn, who catches him and wipes him out of a TKO. Red takes Daniels away with a diving Hurricanrana. Skipper then takes him out with the play of the day. Sabin's impressive now as he rolls out of a crossbody to hit a backbreaker. The Ninja Luchador's back again. He hits a DDT on Sabin. Lynn puts Sabin away at the Cradle Piledriver. These two would be long-time rivals in the future. Another massive moment happens now as Elix Skipper does a rope walk to hit a head scissors. It was so good that TNA actually do an extremely rare replay. I think this was the first rope walk in TNA, I might be wrong though. Triple X almost put Lynn away with a double team. It then all goes wrong for Triple X as they take each other out. Red gets the tag and he hits a double drop kick. He starts going nuts and kicking everyone. Talk about fast feet right here. Red is slowed down when Skipper reverses his head scissors into a side slam. Seconds later, Lynn hits a powerbomb. Daniel stops him with a Uranagi into the BME, which Lynn kicks out of. Excellent X Division match. It's certainly been a while. Skipper and Daniels hit a crossbody suplex combination now. The Red and Lynn team battle back with a diving kick reverse chair drop combination. Triple X start getting desperate now as Skipper grabs a tag belt. He misses Lynn and gets the belt kicked in his face. Daniels looks like he's still in control as he kicks Lynn and he gets a 2-count on Red. Daniels tries to slam him in the corner, but Red fights off and he rolls him up, and that's how this one ends. Lynn and Red are going to get a shot at the tag titles due to this win. Goldilocks in the back with fake main eventer Eric Watts. She asks him about stealing the belt earlier. He says he doesn't actually care about the belt, he only cares about Jeff Jarrett. Goldie says she's scared of Jeff because he choked her last week. Eric starts rubbing her and asks if it's calming her down. Goldie says it's not helping. Eric reveals that everybody hates Jeff Jarrett and he accuses the TNA production team of piping in crowd cheers for Jeff Jarrett matches. He talks about a load of boring things from the past, some of which sound quite unbelievable. Why is this guy on the show? Because I'm still not understanding it. Oh no, Mike TNA brings out Slapnuts now. We go from excitement to complete boredom. This is how we end the show. Jeff always manages to squeeze into the end of each TNA show, doesn't he? TNA asks him what his deal is with all his heel actions lately. Slapnuts asks Mike TNA if he knows how much pressure he's under in his life. TNA asks if he's dealing with good Jeff Jarrett or bad Jeff Jarrett. He really thinks he's the rattlesnake, doesn't he? Raven interrupts him to hype their title match. The crowd chant Raven sucks. Jarrett says whilst Raven was detoxing somewhere, Jarrett was winning world titles. He tells him to shoot his drug-induced ass into the ring and fight now. Security geeks get in the way straight away. Raven and Slappy both grab chairs, which scares the geeks away. Jeff's swinging at everyone, but for some reason Dusty Rhodes thinks it's a good idea to sneak up on him, and Jeff turns around and smacks him with a chair. And that is the exact moment when the show goes off the air. Pretty good show today, nice opener and nice main event. The stuff in the middle was a bit dull, but for once I would have felt like I'd got my money's worth with this show. Okay, we start out in the car park this week with Dusty Rhodes looking around cluelessly. I think he's lost. We cut to Raven in the darkness with Julio and Mickey. Raven says that they worship him. He acknowledges that he's still with SCX despite hardly ever being seen with them. He says Jeff is trying to take wrestling back to the 80s. He reminds us that since his childhood it's been his destiny to win the NWA title. He also claims Jarrett is going insane due to his recent actions. Raven moves on to D'Lo Brown and says he's in trouble tonight. And that match seems to be now. It's Raven taking on downtown D'Lo Brown. D'Lo scores his first knockdown as Raven dumps in his nappy of fear. Raven scores the second knockdown and does the D'Lo head shake. Let me know in the comments down below whose head shake was better. Did you prefer Mike Sanders or Raven? D'Lo powers him out the ring and he drop kicks him through the ropes. D'Lo Brown hits a huge dive now to the outside. All the dives in TNA look like they almost kill the person doing the dive. Raven's in full control after that. The crowd are completely split for who they want to win this one. Out of nowhere, D'Lo hits a diamond cutter for a double down. D'Lo also hits a side effect. D'Lo has a wide move arsenal in TNA. He hits the low down, but Julio gets in the ring with a super kick. The ref counts a 2 only. Then there's a ref bump as D'Lo accidentally kicks him. Julio throws powder in D'Lo's face. Mickey's in the ring now and D'Lo smashes her with the low down. Brown also has a big side slam on Julio. Raven hits the Raven effect for the 3. Raven's matches in TNA seem to all be the same. He gets beaten up all match and then ends up getting some help and wins with 1 DDT. Raven is redder than Ric Flair's face. Okay, I'm exaggerating, nothing could ever be that red. This Raven Jarrett match is getting a lot of hype. This might be the first TNA match that's been really hyped up in this way of long video packages. Goldilocks is in the SCX locker room with faction leader Disco Inferno. He asks if Sanders is going to win the X Division title tonight. Surely not. He's motivating all of the troops, they're loving him. Disco announces he'll be facing AJ Styles in a street fight. He says big deal he lost last week in a wrestling match, but in a street fight he won't be able to do MTV Jackass flying crap. Don't see how that's going to stop AJ. Disco tells the Nazi to wrap a towel around his hand and then he demands that he punches him. Disco slaps the Nazi and complains that the Nazi doesn't punch him hard enough. These punches seem to hype Disco up. He's out for his match now. It's Gifted, Glenn Gilberty, how is he gifted? Versus AJ Styles. We haven't had a hilarious AJ Styles promo in a couple of weeks now, I miss them. They punch each other before AJ Styles hits a German suplex in jeans. Disco comes back with a clothesline. They spill out the ring. Disco drops him on the ring steps. He quickly launches him into the crowd. Disco almost throws him into an old lady, which is probably the most action she's had in 50 years. This match is hard hitting. AJ aggressively throws Disco into a wall. Then AJ swings and misses a punch hitting the SCX locker room door. Sanders walks out and hits AJ. AJ Styles is now dead. Look, there's Raven. He's hanging out with his friends for once. Styles wakes up after this and he fights off a powerbomb attempt with a suplex. Sanders starts boxing him again, but D'Lo Brown appears and he evens up the odds. AJ charges and flies over the guardrail to take out Disco. In the ring for the first time in a while, AJ hits a pump handle gutbuster. He also hits a side suplex. AJ seems like a hybrid wrestler at this point. He does a bit of everything. Well, not really hardcore stuff because he misses his chair shot. AJ nails Disco with a spinning kick. He then wedges a chair into the corner and sends Disco into it face first. Styles is determined to prove that he can become a hardcore wrestler as he goes back to his chair. Disco blocks his chair shot with a kick and he snaps off a stunner across the chair. Disco Inferno gets the 1-2-3 on AJ Styles. Let that sink in. Disco Inferno is moving into the main event and he can't be stopped. Really good match here. These opening matches are great. Goldilocks finds Dementia Rhodes in the car park. He asks him what he's doing. He's apparently looking for Slapnuts who hit him with a chair. I don't think it was Jeff's fault. Dusty was an idiot for sneaking up on him in the first place when he was surrounded by his enemies. Eric Watts walks past wearing a top saying Jeff is dead. Dusty asks him why he's here because he should be learning how to become a wrestler. Eric eventually gets offended and he throws a bag at Dusty which knocks him out. Hilarious. Goldilocks saves Dusty from a further beatdown. Kid Kash and Trinity are out now. It sounds like Kid Kash will be defending his title in a match against Beyond Boring. Kash cuts a promo first though. He seems to have had a change of heart and he apologises to Trinity for his jealousy and he admits how good she is. Then he kisses her. Wait, was it ever established that they were a couple? I'm not imagining that, am I? When were they a couple? She seems happy about it. So here he is, Beyond Boring Mike Sanders. Apparently losing 2 matches in a row qualifies you for a title match. Kid Kash starts with a big head scissors. He launches Sanders out the ring. Sanders shoves Trinity in the face. Mike Sanders back in the ring now drops Kash across the ropes. I have to say, I love this spinning side slam by Sanders. Dude is actually starting to slowly grow on me despite his appearance. Sanders punts Kash in the face and drops the elbow twice. Trinity tries to interfere but Sanders stops her. Mike Sanders hits a big rock bottom. Kash fights back and almost wins with a spinning twisting dive. Kash keeps selling his knee though, which has the ref distracted. Trinity's here with a big crossbody and a super kick and a moonsault. Kid Kash thinks he can capitalise on all of that with a double springboard, but is countered into a powerbomb. This Mike Sanders is resilient. Trinity continues to distract Sanders. This match makes Sanders look like the good guy. Just after, Kid Kash wins with a springboard coast-to-coast cannonball kick. The Nazi boys appear as Kash runs away. They hit Trinity with the H-bomb, so I guess Kash was just using her to get through this match. Goldilocks is in the back with the New Church discussing the bloody massacre match last week. James insults the Sandman and the ECW guys. He doesn't like their bond and wanted them to join the New Church. Mitchell says he's found a guy to beat up Perry Saturn tonight. Here he is then, Perry Saturn, who has had a good 3 matches in TNA so far. They've given him a mic again, but he just sounds crazy. It's Mike Awesome debuting in TNA. He looks like Bret Hart ate Chris Harris. They both take turns hitting aggressive suplexes. Saturn manages to get a 1 count off a clothesline. Perry Saturn isn't phased and he throws Awesome with a T-bone. Saturn grabs a table now, not sure why, he was in complete control. Awesome uses that distraction to take advantage. Mike Awesome flies over the safety rail and he continues to finish setting up the table. Saturn reverses his powerbomb attempt and he gets him into the safety of the ring. Perry sweeps his legs out of a back heel sweep. Saturn front suplexes Awesome across the ropes and charges at him, but Awesome wakes up and hits a shoulder block. Awesome now hits a sloppy looking back body drop. The two ECW friends are pretty even as Awesome misses his corner splash and Saturn suplexes him. Perry also hits another German release suplex. I'm enjoying Perry Saturn's move arsenal in TNA. He hits a springboard drop kick for a 2. Later on, Awesome goes high risk with a clothesline for a 2. Awesome tries to put him away again, but he's hit with a Saturn super kick. Perry tries a powerbomb of his own, but he's overpowered and hit with the Alabama Slam. Awesome dives off the top rope with a splash. What the hell, Saturn kicks out of it. The ECW and New Church guys then brawl into the ring, so a great match is ruined and thrown out. That's a damn shame right there. But more importantly, the massive news is breaking that Slapnuts has arrived at the building. He's in the back of a truck having a mental breakdown. He's starting a furniture removal business by the looks of it. Goldilocks screams that she needs some help, he's flipping out. Chris Harris and James Storm interview now. Mike TNA asks Harris why he's only having singles matches at the moment. He says he just wants to challenge himself. He also asks Harris why he was in the SEX locker room. Harris says he doesn't have anything against those guys. Storm interferes and says he shouldn't be hanging out with them. They're the people they're trying to win the tag belts from. Are they? They haven't been in a tag title match in months. Harris calls Storm his best friend and says they'll be tag team champions again soon. Harris wishes Storm good luck in his singles match tonight. Up next, another amazing promo. Goldilocks has the master of the cab driver slam and don't look with her. He calls her Goofy Locks. Goldie asks Sonny why he isn't wrestling against James Storm tonight. He says he doesn't wrestle against nobodies. It's crazy to think that in 2003, Sonny was a much bigger name than James Storm. David Young starts threatening Storm, but Sonny cuts him off. He says David isn't allowed to talk because he sounds like a hillbilly and everyone in SEX is supposed to be hip and cool. He bans him from talking ever again. This is a team I can enjoy.
Goofy Locks, I got this.
Oh, okay.
Just in case you forgot, let me reintroduce myself. Ace in the hole.
You were supposed to wrestle James Storm tonight, right?
Ace in the hole wrestling tonight against a nobody.
Well,
Are you kidding me? Do you know what my schedule is like? Is that funny?
Let me tell you something, James Storm. When I come out there tonight, I'm coming to do one thing. That's spine buster you straight through the mat, son.
Everyone in the sets locker room we're all hip. We're cool. Okay? This is not the Beverly Hillbillies. As of from here on out, let Ace in the hole do all the talking. Okay?
Young, Desire and Siaki are out now, but this is just David Young in a match. He takes on the Cowboy James Storm in his first ever TNA singles match. It doesn't start well for Young as Storm dives into him with a Hurricanrana. Storm also skins the cat as Young crashes to the outside. James Storm dives down on top of him. The Cowboy's really rocking Young as he hits head scissors on the ramp. Young finally has an answer as he is able to hit a power slam on the outside. Siaki also gets involved. It's not looking good for the Cowboy now. Young does make a mistake when he tries a dive and Storm boots him on the top rope. The Cowboy hits a Frankensteiner for a 2. Storm's then caught in the exact same situation up top and Young gives him a stone cold stunner. Then it all goes to turd as Storm hits the 8-second ride and Siaki pulls the ref out the ring. Siaki takes time to show the ref which crowd member caused him to fall out the ring. David Young hits the cab driver slam, it's over. So I guess that James Storm and AMW are losers together and losers apart. Great story. In the back, the Sandman and New Jack are playing a game of chess. Goldie tells Sandman that she's glad he looks relaxed. New Jack keeps burping on Goldilocks. New Jack says they aren't here to win matches, they just want to hurt people. His actual job is to find the highest thing to jump off of. Well, he certainly does that in TNA. He's interrupted by the Sandman who says he has him in check in the chess game, which upsets New Jack as he takes his games very seriously. The New Church are out for their match now, but Mike Awesome isn't with them. They of course take on the Sandman and New Jack. Jack rushes the ring while Sandman is still in the crowd drinking. He better get a move on if he wants to avoid his 7th TNA loss. Sandman does make it to the ring eventually and he gives the Slash Man a Frankensteiner. He also delivers the guillotine leg drop. They're all out of the ring fighting now where they're all at their best. The Slash Man chokes out Sandman with a TV cable. Surprisingly, they all decide to get back into the ring to fight. Slash gets a 2 on the Eye of the Storm. The Slash Man wants to put New Jack through a table now, but he's saved by the Sandman and a kendo stick. James Mitchell attacks the Sandman and Lee hits a big boot. James Mitchell's fully involved now. He's trying to carve Sandman open with a blade. Saturn runs out and evens up the odds as New Jack returns with a diving chair shot. Mike Awesome runs out to the ring. He powerbombs New Jack out of the ring and through a table. Damn. They roll New Jack back in the ring and pin him. Not sure how that's fair, but whatever. The lights go out and when they come back on, Just Incredible is here with a kendo stick and fake Timberlands. The ECW invasion is truly on. In the car park, Jeff Jarrett is lecturing a construction crew on how to build something. In full cartoon style, Eric Watts walks up behind him and starts offering advice on the building work. Jarrett turns around and tries to throw a trash can at him and it ends. I still have no idea what the fuck is going on with this feud. This car park is becoming an important part of the TNA show. The tag title match is up now. The champions are Triple X. Low-key must be off in Japan at this point. They face Jerry Lynn and the Amazing Red for the belts. Red has a funny little hooded cloak on. Fucking Red Riding Hood. This should be match of the night, but maybe it'll be shite. Lynn starts out with a head scissors and a Total World backbreaker. Daniels dumps in his nappy and tags Skipper in. Lynn tags Red Riding Hood in. He lands on his feet from a German suplex attempt, which annoys Elix. Red is looking confident and he hits a head scissors and a 718. Red tries a springboard, but Daniels gets the tag and he catches him from the dive. Daniels can't do anything though as Red reverses it. The match breaks down now with Lynn throwing Red into a Hurricanrana. Cheating finally turns the match around for the champions. Skipper gets a 2 off a corkscrew splash into the ring. Look at the height on Skipper's jump now, this is insane. How can a wrestler his size fly so high? He gets a 2 on a reverse suplex. Jerry Lynn finally manages some offense with a double clothesline. Amazing Red makes a comeback now and he hits kicks constantly. Everyone is peppered with them. Red thinks he's won with a DDT, but the pin's broken up. The champions are sent to the outside where Lynn hits a springboard flip dive onto them. Red also has one for them. Back at the ring, Skipper hits a leg drop on Red whilst Daniels holds him. Skipper takes too long wiping sweat off himself, so Red is able to kick out the pin. Elix now exposes Red's ginger hair braids, which seem to silence the crowd a bit. They're in shock. Red hits the code red, but it's not enough. Triple X start isolating Red now. Skipper throws Red through the air as Daniels plants him with a Uranagi. Red's really struggling. Lynn has to keep saving him. Red suddenly takes them out of a cartwheel kick and another kick, and Lynn gets the tag. He hits a tornado DDT, but the pin's broken up by Daniels. Now Lynn stacks Daniels on his shoulders. Red does a springboard dive up to them and hits an insane Hurricanrana. That one doesn't end the match though. Red goes to fly again now, but the Luchador Ninja shoves him off the top. He takes Red out on the ramp and then he runs away. It looks like it's low key to me. Daniels gives Lynn the angel wings, but somehow he kicks out of it. Triple X hit a double team move now and Lynn kicks out again at the last possible moment. Daniels looks like he's spraying blood into his nappy. Lynn manages to catapult Skippers into Daniels, who's on the top rope. He quickly rolls Skipper up with a float over. And just like that, Jerry Lynn and Amazing Red have won the tag belts. Wasn't expecting them to do it. Fair play, guys. What a great match. Triple X are bad losers, so they attack the new champions. For some reason, Jarrett makes the save. He clears Triple X out in seconds. Slappy's just here to call out Raven and hype up their title match. Why is he wearing gardening gloves? He tells Raven to send out his son and daughter so he can beat them up. I assume he's talking about Mickey and Julio. They don't appear in the ring, so Jarrett charges towards the locker room. He can't kick the door down as there's a lock on it. Mickey suddenly appears, hitting him with a trash can. Jarrett no-sells it and hits her back. He also hits Julio. Jarrett's throwing chairs at anything that moves, so this is actually a match. It's a handicap Clockwork House of Orange fun match. Mickey's looking extra greasy tonight, but she's also dangerous with a trash can lid. Jarrett is crushed with baseball bats and kendo stick shots. They throw Jarrett into a metal fence in the corner. Jarrett fights back, sending Mickey into the cage. Mickey tries a poetry in motion off Julio's back, but she's caught and powerbombed into him. Slappy's in his element now, but why no guitar as a weapon choice? Jarrett sends both his opponents upside down. Then he does a running power slam on Mickey into the cage. This causes a ref bump too. Jarrett now has Mickey set up on a table. He levels Julio with a steel chair and he puts Julio on the table. He can't put the two guys through the table as Raven's here. He suplexes Slappy off the top rope onto both of his friends through the table. Julio De Niro somehow makes the cover. Julio De Niro has just beaten Jeff Jarrett. Monty Brown couldn't do it, but this guy can. Raven gives Jarrett the even flow and the show ends. Another good couple of episodes, but I have to say TNA certainly doesn't feel like WCW anymore. It's ECW through and through, and if you don't agree with that, I'll beat you with my shoe.